The lamp breaks during the fight, glass shattering, oil spreading. The sick sweet smell of kerosene, catching fire. She tries to pull him out. Her drunk husband, face down, bleeding from the head. She almost has him to the door. Almost then he swings at her, even half-conscious. Even burning knocks her backward into the flames. Her dress ignites like paper, her hair, her face, the left side of everything. By the time she rolls into the street, screaming, half the town is watching. By the time they bury him 3 days later, they've already decided. She started it. Cursed woman. Witch. 6 months later, she's dragging a pine log uphill. Alone. Building a cabin with blistered hands. And 2 weeks before the killing snow comes, a man watches from the ridge, wondering why he hasn't ridden away yet. 2 broken people, 1 winter. And a choice neither of them is ready to make. October 1857. Colorado Territory. The woman dragged the pine log uphill. Alone, Eleanor Brennan. Nora, to the few who'd bothered to know her, had rope over her shoulder, boots carved into rocky soil. Her dress, faded calico, mud-stained to the knees. The scar ran from left temple to jawline. Pale against weathered skin, a map of fire, a monument to survival. Most women would have quit an hour ago. She didn't quit. Couldn't afford to. The log was full length, heavy enough 2 men would have cursed hauling it. She pulled anyway, because winter was coming. And winter in Colorado didn't negotiate. Her hands were raw, blistered, bleeding in places she'd stopped noticing. Pain was just. Information. Telling her the rope was cutting deep. Telling her she needed to shift grip. Telling her to stop. She didn't stop. The cabin sat 50 yards uphill. Half built. Walls barely chest-high, no roof yet. Just frame and hope. She'd been at this since dawn. 4th log today. Needed 12 more. At this rate. 2 weeks. Maybe if the weather held. The sky said it wouldn't. Clouds gathering west. Thick and gray. The kind that brought snow. Early snow. The kind that killed unprepared people. She was unprepared, but she was also stubborn. And stubborn had kept her alive this long. 3 miles south. Silas Morgan sat his horse on a ridge watching. He'd been watching for 20 minutes now. Couldn't quite figure out why he hadn't ridden down yet. The woman hadn't asked for help. That was part of it. Women who asked for help usually wanted something else. Pity, protection, a ring. A name to replace the one they'd lost. This one just wanted the log moved. Silas was 38. Looked older. Mountain living did that. Carved lines into your face. Turned your hands to leather. Made you forget what soft felt like. He ran cattle. 50 head. Used to be more. Lost 20 last winter. His fault. He'd been distracted. Grief did that. Made you slow. Made you miss things. Made you lose what you couldn't afford to lose. He also trapped when the pelts were good. Spoke to his horse more than people. The horse didn't lie. People always lied. His wife had lied. Abigail, beautiful woman. Everyone loved her. Long dark hair. Delicate hands. Smile that could make a man forget his own name. Silas had loved her too. For a while, until loving her felt like drowning. She'd wanted town life. Dances. People. Parties. Admir Ranch bored her. The isolation suffocated her. Silas bored her. She'd told him so, repeatedly. For 3 years, until the night she went into labor. The night everything ended. The baby isn't yours, Silas. Last words. Honest, finally. Too late. She'd been carrying Robert Finch's child. The assayer from Denver. The one who came through twice a year. The one with city manners and clean hands. The baby died with her. Probably just as well. Silas had buried them both on the hill behind the house. 2 years ago this November, he visited once a month, mostly to remind himself he was free. Free felt like alone. Alone felt like failure. But at least it was honest. He nudged his horse down the slope. Nora heard hoofbeats, stopped pulling, straightened, breathing hard, didn't run, didn't call for help. Didn't reach for the knife in her boot. Not yet. Just stood there, chin up, watching him come, rope still over her shoulder. Like she might need it as a weapon, men out here. They fell into categories: helpful, harmless, dangerous. She'd learned to tell the difference. Quickly, this one rode slow, hands visible. No weapon drawn, helpful or harmless maybe. Silas dismounted 10 feet away. Kept his hands where she could see them. Woman up here had reason to be cautious. He understood that. Afternoon, he said. She nodded. Once. Waiting, her eyes were green. Sharp. Assessing. Survivor's eyes. That's a lot of cabin for one person, he said. Don't need charity from strangers. Her voice was steady. But her hands stayed on the rope. Silas studied the walls behind her. Half-built, barely chest-high, no roof. Tools scattered in the dirt. A canvas tent sagged beside it. Smoke rising from a meager fire pit. One bedroll visible through the tent flap. One tin cup. One plate. Alone then, really alone. Roof won't hold without proper bracing, he said. Storm's coming in 2 weeks. Maybe less, I'll manage. You got help coming? No family? No. Friends? She just looked at him. The answer was clear. Silas looked at her. Then really looked the scar. Old. Healed but prominent. Burn pattern started at her left temple, ran down her cheek, ended at her jawline. He'd seen enough range accidents to know fire. Odd fire. She caught his gaze. Read it. Her shoulders tightened. Defensive. Here it comes, her posture said. The pity. The questions. The revulsion. I'm not pretty, she whispered. Like she'd said it 100 times before. Like she was tired of saying it. Like she wanted to get it out of the way, so he'd leave, so she could get back to work. Silas met her eyes. That's fine. I need honest, not fancy. Pause. She blinked. Winter kills pretty folk first out here, he continued. Pretty doesn't know how to swing a hammer. Pretty doesn't know when a storm's coming. Pretty freezes to death waiting for someone else to save them. He gestured at the cabin. You built this? Yes, alone? Yes. Joints are solid. Walls are level. Somebody taught you right, taught myself. He nodded. Impressed despite himself. Then you're smarter than most men I know. Something shifted in her face, surprise. Maybe, or suspicion of kindness. Same thing, really. Out here, Cadmus usually had a price. Why would you help me? She asked. Because I'm tired of liars in nice dresses. He picked up her hammer, tested its weight. The handle was wrapped in cloth strips. Smaller grip. Woman's hands. Clever. You got nails? She hesitated, thinking, calculating. I can pay with labor, she said finally. I cook. I mend. I can work, fair enough. Silas walked to the nearest wall. Examined the joints. Solid work. Really solid. Whoever taught her knew what they were doing. Or she'd taught herself, from books maybe. He'd seen her type before. Educated, desperate. Alone. What's your name? He asked. Eleanor Brennan. Nora. Silas Morgan. I run cattle 3 miles south. He glanced at the sky. Clouds thickening, light fading. Temperature dropping. Well, we start tomorrow at first light. Why not now? Because you need to eat. And sleep. And you look like you've done neither in a week. Her jaw tightened, pride. He recognized it. He had the same problem. I can work until dark. You can. Doesn't mean you should. He mounted his horse. First light, Mrs. Brennan. I'll bring coffee. He rode away. Didn't look back. Nora watched him until the pines swallowed him whole. Then she sat down hard on a stump, hands shaking. Not from exhaustion, though she was exhausted from something else. Hope, maybe. First snow in 2 weeks. First hope in 6 months. She wasn't sure which scared her more. Moogs earlier, Denver City, April 1857. The lamp broke during the fight. Nora remembered that part clearly, the sound of glass shattering, oil spreading across the floor. The sick, sweet smell of kerosene. Dalton stumbling. Drunk, always drunk lately. Used to be just weekends, then weekdays, then all day, every day. Since they lost the baby, their first. 5 months along, a boy the midwife said, Dalton blamed her. Said she worked too hard, lifted too much, didn't rest enough. Said it was her fault their son died. Maybe he was right. She'd been scrubbing floors the day. The cramping started traying to earn extra money. Because Dalton drank his wages. Because they needed food. Because. You useless. He'd backhanded her. Not the first time. Wouldn't be the last. Except it was. The oil caught fire. Fast. Faster than she expected. Flames crawled up the curtains. Across the floorboards. Hungry. Eating everything. Dalton fell. Hit his head on the table. Didn't get up. Nora tried to reach him. She did. She tried. Grabbed his arm. Pulled. He was heavy. Dead weight. She pulled harder. Almost had him to the door. Almost even half conscious. Even burning. Even dying. He swung at her. connected with her face, knocked her backward, into the flames. Her dress caught, the old cotton one, Dalton's mother's, the one she'd been wearing when they married. It went up like paper, her hair, her face, her. She rolled, screamed, got to the door, stumbled into the street. Neighbors came running. Miss Chen from next door, the blacksmith, the preacher's wife. They threw water on her, not on the house. The house was lost. Dalton was lost. They pulled his body out the next morning, burned beyond recognition. Had to identify him by his wedding ring, the one she'd saved 6 months to buy. The town buried him 3 days later. Full funeral, Reverend Whitmore presiding. A good man, he said. A godly man, he said. Taken too soon, he said. Nora sat in the front pew, Fex, bandaged, hands bandaged, silent. Nobody sat with her. After the service, after the burial, the whispers started. Heard she started the fire. Heard they were fighting. Heard she wanted him dead. Cursed woman. Witch. Probably burned the house down on purpose. Reverend Whitmore led the chorus, stood at his pulpit the following Sunday, talked about sin, wickedness. Wives who didn't submit, woman, who brought destruction. Never said her name. Didn't have to. Everyone knew. Dalton had been his son-in-law. Family, Nora was just, well, Nora. The outsider, the one from Pennsylvania. The one with no family, no friends, no one to defend her. After the funeral, the merchant came calling. Amos Pritchard, 45. Never married. Owned the boarding house, half the land claims in Denver, 3 businesses. A future, people said. He came to her room at the boarding house, the one she'd been staying in, because her house was ash. Because she had nowhere else. He knocked. She opened. Mistake, Mrs. Brennan. He smiled. Like a snake that just swallowed a mouse. Satisfied, been waiting for digestion. Mr. Pritchard, may I come in? I'd prefer you didn't. It's about your situation. She didn't move. You need protection, he said. I need to be left alone, a widow. Alone. With that, he gestured at her face. She'd taken the bandages off that morning. The burns had healed mostly, left thick ropey scars, pink, angry, permanent. People will talk, he continued. Let them. It's not proper. A woman alone, no income, no prospects. I'll manage. How? Good question. She had $43, Dalton's life savings, which wasn't really savings. More like what was left after he drank everything else. $43 wouldn't last 2 months. Work for me, Pritchard said. The boarding house. Cooking. Cleaning. Respectable work. No. Why not? Because I know what you really want. His smile thinned. You flatter yourself, Mrs. Brennan, do I? They looked at each other. Truth sitting between them. Ugly. Obvious. You'll regret this, he said quietly. She did, but not the way he meant. The rumors got worse. Witch, murderer. Adulteress. War. Someone said she'd been meeting other men while Dalton worked. Someone said the fire was intentional. Someone said she deserved what happened to her face. God's judgment, written in scars. No one would hire her. No one would rent to her. The boarding house asked her to leave. Quietly. Other guests are. Uncomfortable. She packed her things. All of it fit in one carpet bag. Walked to the land office. Used 38 of her $43, bought a claim, 15 miles outside Denver, middle of nowhere, edge of everywhere, 40 acres, most of it rocks. But it was hers. If she was going to be alone, might as well be on her own terms. She'd been building for 6 weeks, living in a canvas tent, cooking over an open fire, washing in a creek half a mile down the mountain. The first week, she cleared the site, moved rocks, leveled ground. Blistered her hands, bled through the blisters. Kept working. The second week, she started cutting timber, borrowed a saw from a trapper passing through, said she'd return it in a month. The trapper looked at her scar, at her tent, at the impossible task ahead. Keep it, he said. You'll need it more than me. She cut trees, stripped bark, measured lengths. Her arms screamed, her back screamed, everything screamed. She kept cutting. The third week, she started building walls, one log at a time, notching, stacking, checking level. She'd found a book in Denver before she left. The Pioneer's Guide to Cabin Construction. 50 cents, best money she'd ever spent. She followed it exactly, measured twice, cut once, cut everything. The book said 2 men could build a cabin in 3 weeks. She was one woman, and not a strong one. She gave herself 3 months, the 4th week. She got the walls to waist height. Progress, slow. But progress the 5th week. Storm came, 3 days of rain. Everything muddy. She huddled in her tent, listening to water destroy her work. When it cleared, 2 walls had shifted. She had to rebuild, started over the 6th week. She got back to where she'd been, waist-high walls, 40 more logs to go. Roof after that, then windows, then door, then chimney, then, impossible. But she kept building because what else was there? First light came cold. Nora was already awake. She'd barely slept. Kept thinking about the man, Silas Morgan, wondering if he'd actually come back. Men said things, promised things, then disappeared. She'd learned that young. She built up her fire, made weak coffee from yesterday's grounds, 80 jerky, hard-bread breakfast of desperate people. She heard hoofbeats just as the sun cleared the ridge. He came. Actually came. Silas rode up leading a second horse. Pack horse, loaded with supplies. He dismounted. "Morning," he said. "Morning." He untied a bundle. "Coffee, real coffee, bacon, eggs, bread, fresh bread." She stared. "You brought food?" "Yeah." "Figured you probably been eating rabbits and roots." "I have coffee. That's not coffee. That's mud." He started building up her fire. She watched, uncertain. Men didn't just help. Not without wanting something. "What do you want?" she asked. He looked up. "Want? For this. The food. The help." "What's the price?" Understanding crossed his face. "The price is you cook it. I'm tired of my own cooking." "That's it?" "That's it." He pulled out a pan. Cast iron, well seasoned. Started frying bacon. The smell was heaven. She couldn't remember the last time she'd had bacon. Months. Before Dalton died. Before the fire. Before. "How do you like your eggs?" Silas asked. "However they come, that's not an answer. I don't care. Everybody cares. Fine. Fried. Hard." He cracked 2 eggs into the bacon grease. Let them sizzle. They ate in silence. Her sitting on a log. Him standing. Both watching the sunrise. The eggs were perfect. The bacon crisp. The bread still warm. The coffee strong enough to float a horseshoe. Best meal she'd had in half a year. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You're welcome." He cleaned the pan, packed it away, picked up his hammer. "Let's build." They fell into rhythm surprisingly fast. Silas sized up the situation, saw what she'd done, what she needed to do, made a plan. "We'll finish these 2 walls first," he said. "Get them to full height. Then start on the other 2. Frame the roof last. I was planning, I know. But trust me, this way's faster." She wanted to argue. This was her cabin, her plan, but he clearly knew what he was doing, and she clearly didn't. "Not really." "Fine," they worked. He lifted the heavy end. She guided the light end. He hammered, she held steady. He measured, she marked, he cut, she cleared scraps. By noon, they'd added 3 logs. More progress than she'd made all last week. "You're strong," he said during their break. "Have to be. Most women." "I'm not most women," he smiled, slight. "No, I reckon you're not." She handed him water. He drank. Handed it back, their fingers touched, brief. She pulled away. Fast. He noticed, didn't comment. "You got any family?" he asked. "No, none." "None that claim me. Parents? Dead? Siblings? 1 brother. Back east. Haven't talked to him in 8 years. Why?" She looked at him. Sharp. "You ask a lot of questions. Sorry. Spent too much time alone. Forgot how to talk to people. Then maybe don't." Fair. They went back to work. Afternoon came hot. They stripped off layers. Silas worked in his shirt, sleeves rolled up, arms roped with muscle, scars on his hands, working man's hands, honest hands. Nora worked in her dress, no corset. Hadn't worn one since the fire. Couldn't afford a new one. Didn't miss it. She caught him looking, not at her body, at her scar. "You got questions about it," she said. "Ask." "None of my business, you're staring." "Sorry." "Fire," she said. 6 months ago. My husband died," he nodded. Kept hammering. "My wife died too," he offered. 2 years back. "I'm sorry, don't be," she blinked. "That was unexpected. You didn't love her?" "I did. For a while. Then I didn't. Then she died before I could figure out which was worse." He set down his hammer, looked at her directly. "I'm not good at this. Talking. People. But I figure if we're gonna work together." Might as well be honest. Honest about what? I loved my wife, but I didn't like her much toward the end. She didn't like me either. We stayed together because that's what you do. Even when it's killing you. Even when you know it's wrong. He picked up his hammer again. She died in childbirth. Baby died too. Wasn't even mine. Nora went still. She told you? Last words. The baby isn't yours, Silas. Then she was gone. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything. I just wanted you to know. I get it. Bad marriages. Dead spouses. Starting over, he hammered another nail. So if you want to talk about it, I'll listen. If you don't, that's fine too. She watched him work. This strange man. Who brought her food. Who helped without asking for payment. Who told her hard truths about his dead wife. Dalton drank, she said quietly. Silas kept hammering. But listening. Started after we lost our first baby. Got mean when he drank, that night. The night of the fire. He came home drunk. Started yelling about supper. About me. About everything. She stared at the wall. The lamp broke during the fight. I tried to save him, I did, but he hit me, knocked me into the fire. Then he died and everyone decided it was my fault, was it? No, then that's all that matters. The town doesn't think so. The town's full of idiots. She almost smiled, almost. They worked until the sun touched the mountains. 5 more logs up, the walls were chest high now. Real progress. Silas packed his tools. I'll be back tomorrow. Dawn, you don't have to. I know. But I will. He mounted his horse, Mrs. Brennan, Nora. One thing. What? You got a rifle? Yes, keep it close. There's tracks around your camp. Someone's been watching. Her blood went cold. Who? Don't know. But they come at night. Circle your tent. Then leave. How do you know? Saw the tracks this morning. Before you woke up, he looked at her seriously. I'm not trying to scare you. Just be careful. And if anyone comes around, anyone at all, fire a shot. I'll hear it. You're 3 miles away. I'll hear it. He rode off. Nora stood in the gathering dark, looking at her half-built cabin, her tent, her small fire. Alone, not as alone as she thought. Someone was watching. She went to her tent, found her rifle, chucked it was loaded, set it beside her bedroll. Didn't sleep much that night. Silas came back every day. Donna Duska, they worked built, talked sometimes, mostly stayed quiet. The walls rose, steady sure. By the end of the week, all 4 walls were up, full height, ready for the roof frame. They stood back, looking at what they'd built. It's really happening, Nora said quietly. Did you doubt? Every single day. But you kept building. Didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. You chose not to quit. She looked at him. Is that what your wife did? Quit? Bold question. He considered it. Yeah, I think so. She quit on us, on me, on the life we were trying to build. Found someone else, someone easier, someone who didn't ask her to be strong. I'm sorry, I'm not. Not anymore. Took me 2 years. But I'm not. He picked up his canteen, drank. She wanted pretty. You want real. That's the difference. How do you know what I want? Because you're building a cabin in the middle of nowhere. You could have stayed in town. Found another husband. Let someone take care of you. But you didn't. You chose hard. You chose alone. You chose real. He handed her the canteen. That takes guts. She drank, handed it back. Or stupidity. Sometimes they're the same thing. That evening, after Silas left, Nora sat by her fire, looking at her cabin. 4 walls, standing strong in 1 week with help. What had taken her 6 weeks alone? She felt something unfamiliar, not quite hope. Not quite trust. But something that felt like maybe, just maybe. She wasn't completely alone anymore. The 2nd week, they started on the roof frame, harder work, heavy beams, precise angles, dangerous. One mistake and the whole thing could come down. Silas was careful, methodical. He explained everything. Why this angle? Why this measurement? Why this cut? Nora listened, learned, remembered. You're a good teacher, she said. Had a good teacher. Old. Josiah Reed. Taught me everything about building, ranching, surviving. Where is he now? Still around, 3 miles west. He's 70. Still works harder than men half his age. I'd like to meet him. You will. He'll come around eventually. Nosy old bastard, she smiled. You care about him. He's the closest thing to a father I've got. My real father died when I was 12. Josiah took me in, Taught me to be a man. What's a man? According to Josiah, Silas thought about it. Someone who keeps his word, does his work, admits when he's wrong, helps people who need it, doesn't lie, doesn't quit. Sounds simple, it is simple. Just not easy. They worked in silence for a while. Then Nora spoke. I can teach you something. If you want. What? Reading. Writing. You said you barely know how. His jaw tightened. I know enough, do you? Can sign my name. Read simple things. That's enough for a rancher, is it? He set down his hammer. You think I'm stupid. I think you're smart enough to know you're missing something. I got by just fine without books, maybe. But you could get by better with them. He looked at her, defensive, embarrassed, pride warring with curiosity. Why do you care? Because you helped me. I want to help you. That's not the same thing. Why not? Because building a cabin is useful. Reading is just. Words are power. Words are freedom. Words are how you know if someone's cheating you on a contract. Words are how you write to family. Words are how you understand the world. She pulled a book from her tent. Homer's Odyssey, water-stained, pages soft from handling. I'll read to you. Tonight, if you want, no pressure, just. Listening, he looked at the book, then at her. Why this one? Because it's about a man trying to get home, trying to survive, trying to be worthy of the life he left behind. She opened it. Seemed fitting, that night, after work, after they ate. After the sun set, Nora read aloud. Silas listened, at first, stiff, uncomfortable, but slowly. He relaxed. Let the words wash over him. Let himself imagine. Oh, Odysseus on his journey, Penelope, waiting, gods and monsters and the space between. When she finished the chapter, he spoke, tomorrow night. Can we do it again? Yes, and maybe. Maybe you can show me some letters, just a few. She smiled. I'd like that. For the first time in 2 years, Silas felt something other than empty. For the first time in 6 months. Nora felt something other than alone. They were building more than a cabin. They just didn't know it yet. The third week brought colder mornings. Frost on the grass, ice in the water bucket, breath visible in the air. Winter's warning. Silas arrived earlier each day, brought more supplies. Lumber from his ranch, nails. Tools Nora didn't have. You don't have to keep bringing things. She said, I know. I can't pay you back. Didn't ask you to. Then why? He looked at her. Honest, direct. Because I got more than I need. And you got less. That's reason enough. They worked on the roof, beam by beam. The frame took shape, like ribs. Skeleton of protection. Against the coming snow. At midday they took breaks. Sat on the cabin floor. The walls created shelter now, blocked wind. Made a space that felt almost like inside. Almost like home. Nora taught him letters. Scratching them in the dirt with a stick. ABCH, his hands were too big. Clumsy with the small movements, he got frustrated. This is stupid. It's not stupid. I'm 38 years old. Too old to learn. You can shoe a horse, you can build a cabin. You can track a deer through snow. But you can't learn letters? That's different. How? Those things make sense, so do letters. Once you stop fighting them, he threw down, the stick stood, paced. I don't like feeling stupid. You're not stupid. Then why can't I do this? She stood, faced him, because you're scared. And when you're scared, you get angry. And when you're angry, you quit, direct hit. He flinched. That's not. It is. I've watched you. Anything physical, anything with your hands, you master it. But this requires you to be vulnerable, to not know, to fail. And you hate that. Silence, cold, heavy. Then he sat back down, picked up the stick. Show me again. She showed him. Dot. Not condescending, just dare. By sunset, he could write his name, Silas Morgan, crooked, shaky, but recognizable. He stared at it, his name, in his own hand. I did it, you did. It's messy, it's yours. Something in his face. Pride small. But real. Thank you, you're welcome. That night she read more Odyssey. He listened differently now, knowing that these marks on the page, these strange symbols, they made words, stories, worlds. Maybe he could learn. Maybe it wasn't too late. 3 nights later, Nora woke to sound. Not wind, not animals. Footsteps. Human footsteps. Circling her tent, she froze. Reached slowly for her rifle. Fingers finding cold metal, the footsteps stopped. Right outside the tent flap, she could see a shadow. backlit by moonlight. Tall male waiting. Her heart hammered. "I know you're there," a voice said. Smooth, familiar. "Amos Pritchard. What do you want?" she called. "To talk. At midnight, when else?" "You don't come to town. Get off my land, your land." "That's interesting. I checked the claim. Barely valid. 40 acres of rocks. No water rights, no timber rights. Worth maybe $15. He moved closer to the tent. "You paid 38. That's not your concern. It is when I'm offering you a way out." She cocked the rifle. The sound loud in the cold air. "I said get off my land, Mrs. Brennan. Be reasonable. You can't possibly survive the winter out here. No roof yet, no chimney, no supplies. You'll freeze or starve or both. I'll manage. How? With that mountain man's help? Silas Morgan?" Her blood went cold. He'd been watching. Knew about Silas. Knew everything. "He's just helping with the cabin, is he? Comes every day. Stays until dark. Brings you food. Supplies. What does he want in return?" "Nothing," Pritchard laughed, bitter, knowing men don't help for nothing. Especially not women like you, women like me, scarred, desperate, alone. He's getting something. Or planning to. You're wrong, am I? When's the last time a man helped you without wanting something? Your body, your money, your debt, silence, because he wasn't entirely wrong. Men always wanted something. Think about my offer. Pritchard continued. Work at the boarding house. Respectable work, roof over your head, 3 meals a day. Safety. At what cost? Your pride. That's all. Just admit you can't do this alone. No, you'll change your mind. When the snow comes. When you're cold and hungry and that cabin still has no roof. You'll come begging. I won't. We'll see. His footsteps retreated, horse hooves, fading into darkness. Nora sat in her tent, rifle across her knees, shaking, not from cold, from rage and fear. Because part of what he said was true. She couldn't do this alone. Not really without Silas, without help. She'd still be at chest-high walls. Still weeks from a roof. Still vulnerable. But accepting Pritchard's offer. That was another kind of death. Slower, quieter, but just as final. She didn't sleep the rest of the night. Morning came gray. Overcast, colder than yesterday. Silas arrived at dawn, saw her face. The exhaustion, the fear she was trying to hide. What happened? Nothing. Don't lie. You look like you haven't slept. I haven't. Why? She told him. About Pritchard, the midnight visit, the offer, the threat. Silas's jaw tightened, hands clenched. He came here. At night. Alone. Yes. That's not offering help. That's intimidation, I know. You should have fired a shot. I would have come, I know. I didn't want to bother you. Bother me? Nora, a man skulking around your camp at midnight. That's not a bothering. That's danger. He looked at the tree line. Calculating, he'll come back, I know, next time. Fire 2 shots. I'll come running, Silas, no arguing. 2 shots. I'll hear them. He started unpacking his tools, angrier than she'd seen him. We're finishing this roof. Today. Tomorrow. However long it takes. But you're getting shelter before the next time he shows up. They worked faster than before. Driven by urgency, by anger. By fear disguised as determination. The roof frame went up beam by beam. By midday it was complete. They started on the shingles. Overlapping, nailing Creting barrier against sky, against snow, against everything. Why are you doing this? Nora asked. Silas hammered another nail. Doing what? Helping me. Really? What do you want? He stopped. Set down his hammer. Looked at her. You want the truth? Yes, I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of going home to an empty house. Tired of talking to myself. Tired of feeling like I died with Abby, but my body forgot to stop moving. He picked up another shingle. You're the first person in 2 years who didn't want anything from me. Didn't pity me. Didn't try to fix me. Didn't expect me to be something I'm not, nail. Hammer drive. You just let me work. Let me be quiet. Let me be useful. And that's worth more than you know, she watched him. This man, this stranger, who was becoming less strange every day. I'm not good company, she said. Neither am I. I have nightmares. About the fire, I have nightmares about finding Abby. Dead. Baby dead beside her. Knowing it wasn't died. Lying to me, I don't trust easily. Me neither. I might never trust. Fully. The way you're supposed to, that's fine. I'm not asking for trust. I'm asking for company, work. Honesty, he looked at her. Is that too much? No, then stop asking why I'm here. I'm here because I want to be. That's reason enough. They kept working. The roof took shape by sunset. Half finished, tomorrow they'd complete it. Tomorrow she'd have real shelter. Tomorrow for the first time. Tomorrow felt possible. The storm came 3 days later. Earlier than expected, heavier than normal. The sky turned white. No warning. One moment clear, next moment whiteout. Silas was on the roof. Nora handing up shingles. The wind hit like a wall. Get down, she yelled. He couldn't hear over the wind. She climbed up, grabbed his arm, pulled him toward the ladder. They descended, fast. Dangerous. Hit the ground just as visibility dropped to nothing. The tent, Nora shouted. No. The cabin, it's not finished. It's got walls and half a roof. Better than canvas. They ran. 10 feet felt like miles. Inside the cabin, out of the wind, but not out of the cold, the unfinished half of the roof. Snow pouring through, accumulating fast. Silas grabbed the canvas from her tent, strung it across the open beams, cried barrier. Crude but effective. They huddled against the back wall. Under the finished half, relatively dry, relatively protected. How long will this last? Nora asked, hard to say. Could be hours. Could be days. Days? It's early season. These storms are unpredictable. She looked around the cabin. Her bedroll was in the tent. Her supplies, her food, everything. I need to get my things. No, Silas grabbed her arm. You go out there. You'll die. Can't see 5 feet. Can't tell direction. You'll wander. Freeze, but we'll manage. I've got supplies on my horse. He went to the doorway. Just a frame. No door yet. Whistled sharp, piercing. His horse appeared, ghost in the white. Silas grabbed the saddlebags, brought them inside. The horse followed. Into the cabin. What are you doing? Keeping him alive. And using his warmth, the horse stood in the corner. Shaking snow off, calm despite the storm. Silas unpacked. Jerky hardtack, canteen, flint and steel. 1 blanket. That's it, I wasn't planning on staying. The temperature dropped fast, their breath visible, thick. Silas started building a fire in the center of the cabin. No chimney yet. Smoke would be a problem. But freezing was a bigger problem. He got it lit, small controlled. Just enough for warmth, smoke rose. Found gaps in the roof, most of it escaped, some lingered, made eyes water. But the heat was worth it. They sat backs against the wall. Horse in the corner, fire between them and the door waiting. I'm sorry. Nora said, for what? Getting you trapped here, you didn't make the storm. But if you hadn't been helping me, I'd be at my ranch. Alone, in a bigger cabin, with a real roof. But still alone. He fed another stick to the fire. At least here I've got company. Hours passed. The storm raged. They talked small things at first. Favorite foods, childhood memories, places they'd lived. Then deeper. Why did you marry Dalton? Silas asked. Nora stared at the fire. I was 19. He was 25. Handsome, charming. Said he'd take care of me. My parents had just died. Cholera. I was alone. Scared. He seemed like safety. When did it change? About 6 months in, after the charm wore off. After he realized I wasn't the woman he'd imagined. I had opinions, ideas. Didn't just obey blindly. She pulled her knees to her chest. First time he hit me, I'd burned supper. He'd been drinking. Said I was useless. Backhanded me across the face. Then cried. Apologized, swore it would never happen again. But it did. Every few months at first. Then every few weeks. Then every time he drank. Which became every day. Why didn't you leave? Where would I go? I had no money, no family, no skills. He told me I was lucky he married me. That no one else would want me, after a while. I believed him. Silas nodded. Understanding, Abby told me I was boring. Said I had no ambition, no culture, no refinement. Just a rancher, just dirt under my fingernails. Why did you marry her? Because she was beautiful. And I was young, and young men are idiots. Nora almost smiled. When did you realize she didn't love you? About a year in. She started making excuses. Headaches. Fatigue. Too tired. Too busy. Any reason not to. Be a wife. He stared at the fire. Then Robert Finch came through, the assayer. Clean hands. City manners. Money. Everything I wasn't. I saw how she looked at him. But I told myself I was imagining it. You weren't. No. The wind howled. The cabin creaked. but held. We're both idiots, Nora said. How so? We married people who didn't deserve us. Or maybe we didn't deserve them. No, they didn't deserve us. We stayed. We tried. We endured. They quit. She looked at him. That's the difference. We don't quit. Something in his eyes. Recognition. Truth? No, we don't. Night fell. Or they assumed it did. Hard to tell with the storm. The world was just white and dark. And cold. Silas fed fire. Carefully, making fuel last. They shared the blanket. Had to, one blanket. Two people. Freezing temperature math was simple. They sat side by side, backs against the wall, blanketed over their shoulders, not touching, but close enough to feel each other's warmth. Close enough to matter. Tell me something true, Nora said. What? Something true. Something you've never told anyone, Silas considered. When Abby died, my first thought, honest to God first thought, was relief. Not grief, not sorrow. Relief that it was over. That I didn't have to pretend anymore. He stared at the fire. What kind of man feels relief when his wife dies? An honest one. He looked at her. You don't think that makes me terrible? I think it makes you human. She hurt you, for years, then died before you could heal, before you could leave, before anything could resolve. Relief. Makes sense. She pulled the blanket tighter. When Dalton died, I felt nothing. Not sad. Not relieved. Just empty. Like someone turned off a noise I'd gotten used to. And the silence was strange. When did the guilt start? About a week later. When people started saying I killed him. Part of me wondered, did I? Not on purpose. But did I give up? Stop trying to save him? Let him die? Did you? I don't know. I pulled him. I tried, but when he hit me, when he knocked me into the fire, I let go. Saved myself instead. Tears silent. Running down her face. Does that make me a murderer? No. That makes you a survivor. He turned to her. He hit you. While you were trying to save his life. That tells you everything you need to know. About him. About you. About who deserved to live. I still see his face. In the fire. Burning. I still see Abby. On the bed. Blood everywhere. Baby beside her. So small they sat. Two broken people. Carrying their dead. Do we ever stop seeing them? Nora asked. But maybe. Maybe we learn to see other things too. Not just the bad. Not just the end, he gestured around the cabin. Like this. Like walls. And roofs. And things we build. She looked at the cabin, her cabin. Their cabin built from nothing. Yeah. Maybe. Exhaustion pulled at them. The fire burned low. Silas added more wood. You should sleep, he said. So should you. I'll keep watch. Keep the fire going. We can take turns. Nora, I'm not helpless. Never said you were. Then stop treating me like I am. He smiled. Slight fair. You take first watch. Wake me in 2 hours. He leaned back, closed his eyes. Within minutes. Asleep, Nora watched him. This man. This stranger, who'd become something. She wasn't sure what. Friend felt too small. Partner felt too presumptuous, but something. Something that mattered. She fed the fire. Watched snow fall through the gaps in the roof, listened to the wind, and for the first time since the fire, felt safe. Morning came gray. The storm had passed. Silas woke first, Nora asleep against his shoulder. He'd woken her for second watch. She'd taken it for an hour, then woken him. Then they'd both fallen asleep, sitting up. Blanket shared, her head on his shoulder, his head resting on hers. He afraid to very still, afraid to break this, whatever this was. She stirred, realized where she was, pulled back, fast. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's fine. I just fell asleep, Nora. It's fine. Their eyes met, something passed between them, unspoken. Fragile then, Silas stood, went to the door, looked out. Snow everywhere, 2 feet at least. Drifts higher. The world transformed, white, silent, beautiful and deadly. We need to check your tent, he said. They trudged through snow, found the tent, cold hot under the weight. Everything inside soaked, frozen. Ruined Nora's bedroll, her extra dress, her few possessions, all of it. Gone, she stood looking at the wreckage, not crying. Just numb. I have supplies at my ranch, Silas said. I'll go get. No, Nora. You can barely see 50 feet. You'll get lost. Freeze. Die. I know the way in a blizzard after 2 feet of snow. No. Then what do you suggest? She looked at the cabin. 4 walls. Half a roof. A door frame with no door. But shelter. We make do. with what we have. Until the weather clears, that could be days. Then it's days, she looked at him, unless you need to get back. To your ranch. Your cattle. He thought about it, the cattle would be fine. They knew how to handle snow, had shelter in the low pastures. Josiah would check on them. Eventually, I can stay. You sure? I'm sure. They spent the morning making the cabin more livable. Silas cut pine boughs, made a crude door, not perfect, but it blocked wind. They hung the wet canvas inside, creating a smaller space, easier to heat. They gathered more firewood, stacked it inside, made sure they had enough. By afternoon, the cabin felt almost homey, fire in the center, smoke escaping through roof gaps. Pine bough door cantas dividing the space, horse in the corner, 2 people making do. The storm came back that night, worse than before. They were trapped, really trapped, day 1. They talked, shared stories. Nora read from the Odyssey. The book had survived in her coat pocket. Silas listened, asked questions, learned day 2. They taught each other. Silas showed her how to carve. Simple things, spoons, bowls, useful objects. Nora taught him more letters. He could write simple words now. Cat, dog, fire, snow. His handwriting. Improving day 3. They ran out of things to say. Sat in comfortable silence, watching fire. Watching snow, watching each other. When they thought the other wasn't looking, that night, Nora woke screaming. Nightmare the fire, Dalton's hands burning. Always burning. Silas was there, instantly. Nora, you're safe. You're here, she was shaking. Gasping, I can't breathe. I can't. Yes, you can. Look at me. Breathe with me, he breathed. Slow, deep, exaggerated. She tried to match, failed, tried again. Slowly, her breathing calmed. The panic receded. She sat, trembling. I'm sorry. Don't be. I woke you. I wasn't really sleeping. He sat beside her. Careful distance. You want to talk about it? It's always the same. The fire. Dalton. His hands around my throat, pushing me into the flames. Burning, she touched her scar. Unconscious habit. I can still smell it sometimes. My hair burning. My skin, everything. I have nightmares too, Silas said quietly. About Abby, about finding her. The blood. The baby. So small. And knowing she'd lied. Knowing she'd died hating me. Knowing I'd failed. At everything, he stared at the fire. Some nights I wake up and I can't remember if it was real. Or if I dreamed it. Then I remember, and it's worse. Because it was real. Do they ever stop? The nightmares, I don't know. But they've been less. Since I started coming here, since I've been busy, useful, not alone with my thoughts all the time. He looked at her. Maybe that's the trick. Not to forget, but to add other things, other memories, other days, until the bad ones aren't the only ones anymore. She considered this. I like that idea. Yeah? Yeah. They sat, fire crackling, storm raging, but inside warm, safe, together. Can I hold your hand? Nora asked, scared of the answer. Yes, she reached out slowly, her hand finding his rough calloused. Warm, he didn't pull away, didn't squeeze, just let her hold on. They sat like that, until dawn, 2 damaged people, learning that touch didn't have to hurt. 4th morning, the storm broke. Sky cleared, sun came out, blinding on fresh snow, beautiful, deadly. The temperature was brutal. But the visibility was back. I should get back to my ranch, Silas said. Check the cattle. Get supplies, I know. Neither moved. You should come with me, he said. What? Come to my ranch. It's got a real roof, a chimney, supplies. You can stay until we finish your cabin properly. I can't. Why not? Because it wouldn't be proper. Proper? A woman, alone, at a man's ranch. People would talk. People are already talking. That's different. How? This is my land, my cabin. If I'm at your ranch, it looks like you're what? She looked away. Like I'm paying you back. For your help. With something other than cooking and mending. Understanding crossed his face. You think I want that? I don't know what you want, he stood, paced. Frustrated. I want you to not freeze to death. I want you to be safe. Warm. Fed. That's it. Men always want more. I'm not men. I'm me. And what do you want from me? Silence. Heavy. Honest, I don't know, he said finally. Company. Conversation. Someone who doesn't look at me like I'm broken. Someone who lets me be useful. Is that enough? Is that acceptable? She met his eyes. Meeching. I'm not ready. 4. More. If that's what you're hoping, I'm not hoping for anything. Except for you to survive the winter, you're really not. Expecting anything? No. No touching? Not unless you want to? No. Claims? No pressure? No. Anything? Nothing. Just shelter. Until your cabin's done. That's all. She looked at her cabin half finished. No door gaps in the roof. Looked at the tent. Looked at the snow. 2 feet deep. More coming. She had no choice. Not really. All right. Yeah? Yeah. But I'm sleeping in a separate room. With a lock? I don't have locks. Then I'm barricading the door. Fair. They packed what little remained. The Odyssey. Her rifle. A few clothes. Silas's tools. Mounted his horse. Double her behind him. Arms around his waist. Necessary for balance. But still, intimate. Strange, they rode through the snow. 3 miles. Slow going. Cold by the time they reached his ranch. Both were frozen. Exhausted. His ranch was bigger than she expected. Real cabin. 2 rooms. Loft. Barn. Fenced pastures. Cattle visible in the distance. He helped her down. Led her inside. The cabin was sparse. Clean but empty. Flunknal but loveless. A place where someone existed. But didn't live. Guest rooms through there, he said. Small. But it's got a bed. Stove. Window. She looked in. The room was tiny. Bed, small stove. 1 chair. But it had a door. Privacy. Safety. Thank you. I'll get a fire going. Make some food. You should rest. She wanted to argue, to help, to earn her keep. But exhaustion pulled at her. 4 days of poor sleep, nightmares, fear. She nodded, went into the room, closed the door, lay on the bed. Asleep within minutes. Outside, Silas stood in his main room, staring at the closed door. A woman in his house. First time since Abby. It felt strange, right, terrifying. He built up the fire, started making stew, and tried not to think about what this meant, if it meant anything, if he wanted it to mean something. He didn't have answers. Only questions. And the quiet sound of someone else breathing. In his house, not quite so alone anymore. The first week at Silas's ranch was awkward. They circled each other, careful, polite. Too polite. Nora cooked, cleaned, mended, trying to earn her. Keep trying not to be a burden. Silas worked, tended cattle, fixed things, stayed busy, stayed out of the house as much as possible. They ate meals in silence or near silence. Stew's good. Thank you. More coffee? Please. Safe topics. Weather, cattle, firewood. Nothing deeper. Nothing that mattered. Until one night, Nora woke screaming again, the nightmare. Worse than usual. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't. Her door opened. Silas. Nora, he didn't come in. Just stood in the doorway. Hands visible. Non-threatening, you're safe, you're here. The fire's out. She was shaking, crying, gasping for air. I can't. Yes, you can. Breathe with me, he breathed. She tried to match. Failed. I'm going to come in. Just to the chair. Is that okay? She nodded. He entered, sat in the chair, 3 feet from the bed. Distance, respect. Tell me 5 things you can see. What? 5 things. In this room. You can see. She looked. Focusing. Thuds. The stove. Good. 4 more. The window. 3 more. The chair. You. The door. Good. Now 4 things you can hear your voice. The wind. The stove crackling. My breathing. 3 things you can feel. The blanket. The pillow. The bed under me. Her breathing slowed, the panic receding. Grounding, returning to her body. To the present. Better? Yeah. What was that? Something Josiah taught me when I used to have panics after Abby brings you back. To here. To now. Does it work for you? Sometimes, when I remember to do it. She pulled the blanket tighter. I'm sorry. For waking you, I was already awake. You have nightmares too? Every few nights. About Abby? Mostly. Sometimes about other things. Cattle I lost. Mistakes I made. Ways I failed. He leaned back in the chair. Nights are hard. When it's quiet, when there's nothing to do but think. Yeah, they sat, the crisis passed. But neither wanting to move, Silas? Yeah, can you? Can you stay? Just for a little while? Just until I fall asleep? Sure, he stayed in the chair. She lay in the bed. Both quiet, both awake, both less alone. After an hour, her breathing evened to sleep. He stood quietly. Started to leave. Silas? Barely a whisper. Yeah? Thank you. You're welcome. He left, closed the door. stood in his main room, staring at nothing. Something was changing between them. He couldn't name it. Wasn't sure he wanted to, but it was there, growing, inevitable. Like spring after winter, whether they were ready or not. 3 weeks at the ranch. The awkwardness faded, replaced by routine, comfort, partnership. Nora cooked breakfast while Silas tended animals. They ate together, talked more, real conversations, about childhood's dreams, fears. She taught him to read, every evening. He was getting better. Could read simple sentences now, struggled with complex words, but always trying. He taught her to shoot, better than she knew, stance, breathing, sight alignment. She was a natural, steady hands, good eye. You could hunt, he said. Could I? Yeah. Rabbits, birds, maybe deer if you're patient. I'd like that. To contribute. More than cooking. You contribute plenty. I want to earn my keep. This isn't a transaction, Nora. Then what is it? He didn't have an answer. Christmas approached. Neither mentioned it. But both thought about it. Nora had nothing to give. No money, no materials, nothing. Silas wasn't much better. But he had an idea. Christmas Eve. He went to the barn, worked for hours. Came back after dark. Where were you? Nora asked. Barn. Doing what? You'll see tomorrow. Christmas morning. Cold, clear, beautiful. Silas woke early, made coffee, set something on the table, waited. Nora emerged from her room, saw it. A wooden box, small. Sybil, beautiful. She approached, cautious. What is this? Open it. Inside, a set of carving tools, sharp, well-made, and a half-carved spoon, his work. Unfinished. I don't understand. I'm teaching you to carve, so you can make things. Useful things. Things to sell, maybe. Or keep, or give. Your choice. She picked up the spoon, ran her thumb over the rough wood. You made this, started it, you'll finish it. Together. Tears formed in her eyes. I don't have anything for you. Yes, you do. What? He pulled out a piece of paper. Worn, folded, opened it, lines of writing, shaky, uneven, but legible. I wrote to my mother. In Pennsylvania. First letter in 15 years. Because you taught me how. He looked at her. That's my gift. You gave it to me already. She stared at him. This man, this impossible, pocked, broken, beautiful man. Silas I. The door burst open. Cold air, snow, and old Josiah, 70 years old. Grinning like a fool. Merry Christmas, you two, he stomped in, bringing cold, and noise and life, Josiah, Silas said. What are you doing here? Coming to meet this woman I've heard so much about. He turned to Nora, extended a weathered hand. Josiah Reed. Silas's conscience and occasional pain in the ass. Nora shook his hand, smiled despite herself. Nora Brennan, I know who you are. Whole territory knows. Woman building a cabin alone. Got half the town in a twist. He looked at Silas. And you. Helping her. Got the other half talking. Let them talk. Oh, I am. I'm enjoying it immensely. Josiah pulled out a bottle. Whiskey brought this. For Christmas. Figure we should celebrate. It's 8 in the morning, Silas said. It's Christmas. Rules don't apply. He poured 3 cups, raised his, to new friends. Second chances. And buildings that hold through winter. They drank. Nora coughed. Strong, harsh, but warm. They spent the day, the 3 of them. Talking logging. Josiah told stories. About young Silas, mistakes he'd made, lessons learned. Nora listened. Seeing Silas through different eyes. Josiah saw them, really saw them. The way they moved around each other. The way they didn't touch, but wanted to. The way they looked when they thought the other wasn't watching that evening. As he prepared to leave, he pulled Silas aside. You love her. What? Don't play dumb. You love her, Josiah. Your wife wanted pretty. This one wants real. Don't mess it up. I'm not. You are. You're scared. I can see it. Scared to try again. Scared to fail. Scared to hurt. Scared to be hurt. But boy, being scared is no way to live. He mounted his horse. Take the risk. Or die wondering what if. He rode away, leaving Silas standing in the snow thinking about risk, about fear, about everything. New Year came, went, dragged. Cold, dark, endless. But they had supplies, had shelter, had each other. Late January, they needed to go to town. Floor salt, nails for when weather cleared. When they could finish Nora's cabin. I'll go alone, Silas said. No, Nora. I'm not hiding anymore. I need to face them. Eventually. Might as well be now. They won't be kind, I know. Pritchard will be there. I know. It could get ugly. Then it gets ugly. But I'm not hiding. They rode to Elkridge, 20 miles, half a day, arrived midday, Sunday, church letting out. Worst timing possible. People everywhere. They saw Nora. Conversation stopped. Whispers started. She kept her chin up. Walked beside Silas, toward the general store. Reverend Whitmore stepped into their path, flanked by deacons, and Amos Pritchard, Brother Morgan. Whitmore's voice cold, judgmental. Reverend, I see you brought company. Mrs. Brennan needed supplies, I'm sure she did. The crowd gathered, circling, sensing drama. Pritchard stepped forward. Mrs. Brennan, still playing house in the wilderness? Still breathing. That's more than you hoped. Careful. Your tongue is sharp. Unbecoming? My tongue is honest. Maybe that's what's unbecoming. Murmurs from the crowd. Reverend Whitmore raised his hand. Silence. This arrangement. It's improper. A woman, alone, living with a man. Not her husband. I have my own room, Nora said. My own space. This is temporary. Until my cabin is finished. Convenient excuse. It's the truth. Is it, or have you simply traded one man for another? Dalton for Morgan? Nora's hands clenched. Silas stepped forward. That's enough, is it? We have a responsibility. To uphold morality, decency. This woman. She killed her husband. He died in a fire she started, an accident, was it? She claims he hit her, pushed her into the flames. But there's no proof, only her word. The word of a woman scored by God's judgment, the scar. He meant the scar. Nora's face burned. Shame, rage. You sanctimonious. Silas grabbed her arm. Gentle Lescraining. Don't. He's baiting you. He's calling me a murderer. And you're giving him what he wants. A scene. Proof you're unstable. Pritchard smiled. Listen to your protector, Mrs. Brennan. He knows what's best. Silas turned to Pritchard. You need to stop, or what? You'll defend her honor? A woman with no honor to defend? The crowd pressed closer. Hungry, eager. Silas felt it. The trap, the pressure, the expectation. Say something, defend her, claim her, or distance yourself. Save your reputation, your standing, your everything. He looked at Nora, at her face. The hope there, the trust, fragile, new, real. He looked at the crowd, at Pritchard, at Whitmore, at the weight of expectation, and made his choice. It's just work. Nora went rigid. What the arrangement? It's just work. She cooks. Men's. I provide shelter. That's all. Nothing improper. Silence. Stunned, Nora stared at him. Betrayal written across her face. Just work? The cabin's nearly done. Few more weeks. Then she'll move back. Everything will return to normal. He couldn't look at her. Couldn't see what he'd done. Pritchard smiled. Triumphant. See, even he knows. You're not worth defending. Nora turned, walked to the wagon, climbed up, sat, staring straight ahead. Silas bought the supplies. In silence, the crowd dispersed, satisfied. Entertained that ride home. 20 miles, neither spoke. Not once. When they reached the ranch, Nora climbed down, went to her room, closed the door, locked it. Silas stood in the main room, supplies still in the wagon, snow starting to fall. And understood exactly precisely what he'd done. He'd chosen reputation over truth, cowardice over courage, the easy lie over the hard stand, just like he'd done with Abby for years. And this time, he'd destroyed something real, something that mattered, something he loved. The word hit him, hard, undeniable. He loved her. And he'd just betrayed her, in front of everyone. He sat head in hands, alone again, by his own choice, his own cowardice, his own failure. Outside, snow fell heavy, relentless, burying everything. 3 weeks passed. Nora stayed in her room, came out only for necessities, water, food, firewood. Moved like a ghost, silent, distant, unreachable. Silas tried once, knocked on her door. Nora. Can we talk? No, please. I need to explain. You explained. In town. In front of everyone. It's just work. I understand perfectly. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Because from where I stood, in front of that crowd, you reduced everything. Every conversation, every evening, every moment. To labor silence. You made me nothing, she continued. Just like Dalton did. Just like Pritchard tried to. You made me nothing. I was scared. So was I, every single day. But I didn't betray you, her voice cracked. I trusted you. I let you in. I let myself. Hope, and you threw it away. To save face with people who don't matter, I know. I know I did, and I don't want your apologies. I want you to leave me alone. He left. Didn't try again. What could he say? She was right about everything. He worked alone. Tended cattle in brutal cold. Fixed fences that didn't need fixing. Stayed in the barn until dark. Avoided the house. Avoided her. Avoided facing what he'd done. At night, he sat by the fire. Whiskey bottle on the table, still untouched. Drinking wouldn't fix this. Nothing would. He'd written another letter to his mother, telling her about Nora, about the cabin, about how he'd met someone real, someone who mattered. Someone he'd destroyed. He burned it. What was the point? Christmas felt like years ago. The carved spoon sat on the table, half finished, abandoned, like everything else. Early February. Josiah came calling, rode up through snow. Found Silas in the barn. You look like hell, Josiah said. Feel worse. Good. Silas looked up. Good. Means you know you messed up, I know. Josiah dismounted. Sat on a hay bale. Tell me what happened. Silas told him. Everything, the town, the confrontation, the cowardice, betrayal. When he finished, Josiah spat. You're an idiot, I know. No, I don't think you do. You had something real, something rare. A woman who saw you. Really saw you. Not the ranch, not the potential. You, broken, scared, trying, and she stayed anyway. He stood paced, and you threw it away. Because you were scared of what? A preacher's opinion? A merchant's smirk? A town full of people who don't know you, don't care about you? I panicked. You quit. That's what you did. Just like you quit on yourself after Abby died. Just like you quit on everything hard, the words hit. Hard true. I don't know how to fix this, Silas said quietly. You can't. Not with words. Words are cheap. You proved that in town. Then how? Action, truth, courage. The things you should have shown the first time. Josiah mounted his horse. That woman built a cabin alone, with broken hands and no help, until you came along. She's stronger than you, braver than you. She doesn't need you. He looked at Silas directly. But she wanted you, chose you, and you spit on that, so now. You got to earn it back. If you even can. What if she won't forgive me? Then you earned that too. But you still got to try. Because dying alone in this barn, feeling sorry for yourself, that's not living. That's just slow suicide. He rode away, leaving Silas. Standing in his empty barn, surrounded by tools. And silence, and the weight of his own failure. But Josiah was right. Words were cheap. Action mattered. He looked toward the house, toward Nora's closed door, and made a decision. Sunday morning, December 22, 1857. Silas woke before dawn, dressed in his best clothes, the ones he'd worn to marry Abby. Hadn't worn since. He saddled his horse, left a note on the table, gone to town. Back tonight, rode 20 miles. Through snow, through cold, through doubt, arrived at Elkridge, just as church was starting. He tied to the doors, heard singing inside. Hymns. Off-key. Familiar. He opened the doors. Mid-service. Everyone turned. Reverend Whitmore stopped. Mid-sentence. Brother Morgan. Services have already begun. I know. I need to speak. This is the Lord's time. Then the Lord can hear me too. Murmurs. Whispers. Silas walked down the aisle. Moved his head, stood at the front. Faced the congregation. 50 people, maybe more. All staring. His heart hammered, mouth dry. But he'd come this far. I'm here to confess, he said. His voice steady, stronger than he felt. And to set some things right. About Nora Brennan. More murmurs. Reverend Whitmore stepped forward. Brother Morgan. This is highly irregular. I don't care. Silence. Shocked acclaimed. Silas looked at them. All of them. These people, who judged, condemned, whispered, that woman, Nora Brennan. She survived a fire that would have killed most people. She survived a husband who beat her. She survived losing everything. And then she survived you. Your judgment, your gossip, your cruelty. He took a breath, and she did it alone. With nothing but her hands and her will, and her refusal to quit. Pause. She bought land, built a cabin, alone, no help, no tools, no experience, just determination. Most men couldn't do what she did. Most men wouldn't try. He looked at Reverend Whitmore. You call her cursed. I call her the strongest person I've ever met, Brother Morgan. I'm not finished. The authority in his voice, undeniable. Whitmore stepped back. Silas continued, 3 weeks ago. I stood in the middle of town. And I lied. Said helping her was just work. Said our arrangement was temporary. Practical. Nothing more. His voice cracked. I lied because I was scared. Scared of what you'd think. Scared of failing again. Scared of choosing wrong. Scared of loving someone and losing them like I lost Abby. Gasps. He'd said love, but the only wrong choice. The only failure was the one I made, standing there. Choosing your approval over her dignity. Choosing reputation over truth. Choosing cowardice over courage. He looked at them. Really looked. Nora Brennan is worth 10 of anyone in this room. She's honest, she's brave, she's real. She doesn't lie, doesn't pretend. Doesn't care what you think of her scars. Because she earned those scars. Surviving, pause, I love her. And I betrayed her. And I don't know if she'll ever forgive me. But I needed you to know, all of you, that she deserves better. Better than this town. Better than your judgment. Better than me. He put his hat back on. If you want to judge someone, judge me. Because I'm the coward here. Not her. Never her. He walked out. The church doors slammed behind him. The congregation sat, stunned silent. Then slowly, people started talking, not whispers, real conversation. Some angry, some moved, some. Reconsidering. Reverend Whitmore stood at the pulpit, opened his mouth. Closed it, for the first time in 40 years. He had nothing to say. Silas rode home, exhausted, emotionally drained. He'd done it, said the truth, publicly, irrevocably. No, didn't know if it would matter. But he'd done it. He arrived at the ranch at dusk, dismounted, saw smoke from the chimney. Nora had kept the fire going. Small thing, but something. He went inside. She wasn't in the main room, door to her room closed. As always, he started to take off his coat, saw something on the table. A letter, addressed to him, from Pennsylvania. His mother. He sat, opened it, hand shaking. Right. My dearest Silas, your letter reached me yesterday. I wept reading it, not from sadness, from joy. After 15 years. To hear from you. To know you're alive. Well, trying. I forgive you. I forgave you the day you left. You were young, angry, hurting. You needed to find your own way. Why, I understood that. Even when it hurt. But Silas, you must forgive yourself. For Abigail, for the baby, for all of it. You are not responsible for her choices, her lies, her death. You did your best. With what you knew, with what you had, that is all any of us can do. You mention a woman, Eleanor, Nora. You say she makes you want to be better. That is love, my son, real love. Not the kind that demands perfection. The kind that inspires growth. Don't waste it. Don't let fear rob you of a second chance. I am ill. The doctor says perhaps 6 months, perhaps less. I would like to see you. Before, if you can come, if you're willing. But whether you come or not, know this. I am proud of you. I have always been proud of you. Not for what you've achieved, but for who you are. A good man, a kind man, a man who tries. That is enough. That has always been enough. With all my love, Mother. He read it twice, 3 times, tears running down his face. His mother. Dying, and he'd wasted 15 years being stubborn, being proud, being an idiot. The door to Nora's room opened. She stood there, seeing him cry. What's wrong? He handed her the letter. Wordless, she read, her face softening. Oh, Silas, she's dying, and I haven't seen her in 15 years because I was too proud, too stupid, too human. She sat across from him, not close, but present. You have to go. To Pennsylvania. It's 2 months' travel, each way. I'd have to leave the ranch, the cattle. Everything. Josiah can watch them. That's not the point. Then what is? He looked at her. I can't leave you. You already did. In town. Remember? The words hit sharp. Deserved. I know I did. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I stood in front of that church today, told everyone. Everything. How I betrayed you. How you deserve better. He stopped. How you what? How I love you. Silence. Heavy. Fragile. You told them you love me? Yes, but you haven't told me. I'm telling you now. She stood, paced, processing. You can't just say that after what you did. After you called us just work in front of everyone. After you made me feel like nothing. I know. You hurt me. Worse than Dalton ever did. Because I trusted you. And you. You chose them over me, I know. And I hate myself for it. Every day. Every moment she turned to him. Eyes wet, angry, hurt. What do you want from me, Silas? Forgiveness. Another chance. Time to prove that I'm not that coward, that I can be better. Why should I give you that? You shouldn't. I don't deserve it. But because I love you, and I want to build a life with you. Real. Honest. No more lies, no more fear. She wiped her eyes. I can't think about this now. You need to go. To Pennsylvania, to your mother. That's what matters. Come with me. She blinked. What? Come with me. To Pennsylvania. Meet my family. Be there. With me. When? When it happens. That's too much. Too fast. We're not even, I know, but I'm asking anyway. Because I don't want to do this alone, and because maybe on the road we can figure this out. Us. If there's an us. She looked at him, this broken man, this coward who was trying. Failing trying again. I need to think. Okay. Don't hope. Don't expect. Just. Let me think. Okay. She went back to her room. Closed the door. Silas sat. Letter from his mother in his hands. Everything uncertain. Everything hanging by a thread. 2 days later, Nora emerged. Early morning. Found Silas in the barn. I'll go. He looked up. Hope, careful, Fragile. Yeah, but. Separate rooms at every stop. No expectations. No pressure. I'm doing this because your mother deserves to meet the woman her son loves. Even if I don't. Even if we're not. Understood. And when we get back, I'm moving to my cabin, finished or not. This. Living here. It's too hard. Okay, they planned. Josiah agreed to watch the ranch. About damn time you did something right, he said. They packed light, 2 horses, basic supplies asuff. Money for stage fare, for lodging, for whatever came. They left at dawn. February 15, 1858, rode to the stage station. 4 days' travel, through snow, through silence, through careful distance. At night, they camped separate bedrolls, separate spaces. But together, sort of third night, Nora spoke. Tell me about your mother. Silas poked the fire. Her name's Margaret. Strong woman. Raised me and my sister after Pa died. Worked herself to bone. Never complained. You have a sister, Ruth, 4 years younger. Haven't seen her since. Since I left, does she know? About Abby? About everything? Some. Not all. Letters only go so deep. Are you scared? To see them? Terrified. Why? Because I left. Angry. Stupid. Said things I can't take back. 15 years. That's a long time to be wrong. Nora understood that, my brother. Back east. I haven't talked to him in 8 years. He didn't come to my wedding. Said Dalton was beneath me. That I was making a mistake. Was he right? Yes, but I didn't want to admit it, so I cut him off. Chose Dalton. Chose pride. Chose. Wrong. They sat 2 people, carrying their mistakes, learning slowly how to put them down. Pennsylvania. Late March, 1858. After 5 weeks travel stays. Train another stage. Exhausting, expensive. Worth it. The farm was smaller than Silas remembered. White paint peeling. Shutters crooked, but the garden was tidy, flowers blooming. Someone still cared. They approached. Silas on foot, leading the horses, Nora beside him. Nervous, the door opened. A woman emerged, 26, dark hair, tired eyes. Ruth. She stared. Silas? Hey, Ruthie. She ran through herself at him, sobbing. You came. You. Actually came, I didn't think. I thought maybe the letter wouldn't reach you, or you wouldn't care, or I care. I'm here. I'm sorry it took so long. She pulled back, saw Nora, wiped her eyes. You must be Eleanor, Nora. Yes. Ruth hugged her too. Unexpected. Warm thank you. For coming. For bringing him home. They went inside. The house was dim. A woman lay in bed. Thin. Too thin. Gray hair spread on the pillow. But her eyes were Silas's eyes, sharp. Silas? Her voice weak. But certain. It's me, Ma. He knelt beside the bed. Took her hand, so small, fragile. Like bird bones. You came. Of course I came. And you brought her. Eleanor. Nora stepped forward. Yes, ma'am. Nora. Margaret studied her. Saw the scar. Didn't flinch. Didn't look away. You've been through fire. Yes, ma'am. So has my son. Different kind. But fire all the same. She squeezed Silas's hand. Weak grip. But determined. You love him? Direct. Unflinching. Nora hesitated. Then, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. Margaret smiled slight. Approving, good. Honesty matters more than certainty. She closed her eyes, exhausted. I'm glad. You're here, both of you now. Let me rest. They stayed. 6 weeks. Silas helped with the farm, flicked things, mended fences, worked alongside Ruth's husband, a good man. Quiet, steady Nora helped with Margaret, cooking, cleaning, sitting with her. Reading when she was strong enough, just being present when she wasn't at first. Ruth was cold to Nora, polite, but distant. Nora understood. Outsider. Interloper, the woman who'd taken her brother. Kept him away. One afternoon, Ruth found Nora in the kitchen, preserving vegetables. You don't have to do that, I know. Then why? Nora looked at her. Because your mother's dying. And I can't fix that. Can't stop it. Can't make it hurt less. But I can make sure you have food this winter. That's something. Small.
Ruth said
heavily. I'm angry at him. At Silas. For staying away so long. For missing 15 years. For not being here. You have that right, but I'm also glad that he's here now. That he came. That he brought you. She wiped her eyes. I don't know how to feel both things, you just do. Angry and glad. Hurt and hopeful. It's all real. All valid. Ruth looked at her. Really looked. You're good for him, Silas. He's different. Since he met you, softer. More honest. More. There, I don't know about that. I do. I've known him his whole life. I've never seen him like this. Scared, vulnerable, actually trying. Not just existing. She stood, extended her hand. Thank you. For bringing him home, Nora took it. Not quite friends, but not strangers anymore. Mid-April, Margaret's condition worsened. She couldn't leave bed, could barely eat, drifted in and out. Silas sat with her, horse at a time, holding her hand, telling her about Colorado. The ranch, the cabin, Nora. One evening, she woke clear-eyed, lucid. Silas, I'm here, Ma, I need to tell you something. Save your strength. No. Listen, she gripped his hand. Weak but determined, I forgave you the day you left. Understood why you went. Young man. Needed to find himself. That's natural, she breathed, hard labored, but you need to forgive yourself. For Abigail, for the baby, for all of it, Ma. You're a good man. Better than you know, that girl. Eleanor. She sees it, don't waste this chance. Being guilty. Being scared, tears ran down Silas's face. I don't know how to let it go. You just do. One day at a time. Choose forgiveness. Choose love. Choose. Forward, she smiled, faint fading. I'm so proud of you, my boy. Her eyes closed. Breathing slowed, Silas held her hand through the night. Until morning, until she was gone. They buried Margaret on the hill, beside Silas's father. Small funeral, family, neighbors, the local preacher. He spoke about Margaret's kindness, her strength, her faith. Silas didn't cry during the service. Stood stone-faced, Nora beside him, not touching, but present after. When everyone left, Silas walked to the grave, alone, stood there an hour. Finally, he knelt, spoke. I'm sorry, Ma, for staying away, for being stubborn, for wasting time. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner, didn't let you meet her, really meet her. Didn't, his voice broke. I love you. I should have said it more, should have written more, should have been better. He stood, wiped his face, turned. Nora was there, waiting. You ready? She asked. Yeah. They walked back together. That evening, Ruth pulled them aside. Ma left something. For you both. She handed Silas a small wooden box inside. Money, not much, maybe $200. And a letter, Silas. Use this for something good, something that matters, something I would have liked. Build your life with Eleanor. If she'll have you, build something that lasts. Mother Ruth handed Nora a smaller package, wrapped in cloth. Inside, Margaret's wedding ring, Sybil gold band, worn thin from decades of wear. And a note, Eleanor, my son loves you. Even if he's too scared to say it right, even if he's messed it up already, give him another chance. If you can, not because he deserves it, but because love, real love, is worth the risk. This ring, wore it for 43 years. Through good times and hard. Through love and loss, it held like you two can. If you choose to. Margaret, Nora stared at the ring, at the note. Tears streaming, Silas saw. She gave you her ring? She wants me to. To give you another chance. What do you want? Nora looked at him. This Man, this coward who was trying, this broken person who was growing. This, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, okay, but when we get back to Colorado, don't give up on me, on us. Just be patient. I can do that, can you? I'll try. That's all I can promise. But I'll try. She nodded. Put the ring in her pocket. Not wearing it, not yet. But keeping it, that was something. They left Pennsylvania in May. 5 weeks back to Colorado. The same route stays, train stays, but different somehow, lighter, less burdened. They talked more about Margaret, about what she'd said, about second chances, about possibility. One night, camped under stars, Nora spoke. I've been thinking about what your mother said, about forgiveness, about choosing forward. She stared at the fire. I'm still angry at you for what you did in town, for choosing them over me. That doesn't just go away. I know, but I'm also tired of carrying it, of letting it define everything, of letting one moment erase all the other moments. She looked at him. You rode through a blizzard for me. You built my cabin. You taught me things, shared things, trusted me with your broken pieces. And then I betrayed you. Yes, you did. And that was real and wrong. And it hurt. She took a breath. But you also stood in front of a church and told the truth publicly, irrevocably, knowing it might not change anything, knowing I might not forgive you. You did it anyway, because I love you. I know. Pause, I think. I think I might love you too. I'm scared to. Scared to trust it. Scared you'll choose wrong again. Choose them. Choose fear. I won't. You can't promise that. No, but I can promise that if I do, if I mess up, I'll own it. I'll fix it. I won't run. I won't hide. I'll fight for us. She considered this. That's all I can ask is that. Does that mean? Are we? I don't know what we are. But when we get back, when my cabin's finished, ask me then, when there's walls and a roof and something real. Ask you what? He did. He smiled, small, hopeful. All right. They arrived in Colorado, late June, summer in full bloom, wildflowers everywhere. Purple, yellow, red. The ranch was standing. Josiah had kept his word. Cattle healthy, cabin maintained. Told you I'd manage. The old man said. They unpacked, settled back. But different now. Not separate rooms, not locked doors, but open, honest traying. They went to Nora's claim. The cabin still stood, roof holding. Walls solid, but unfinished. No door, no windows, no chimney. They worked. Every day together, Silas and Nora building, talking, laughing. 2 weeks later, the cabin was done, really done. Door hung, wending, glazed. Chimney drawing smoke properly. Floor swept, everything cleaned. They stood back, looking at what they'd built. It's beautiful, Nora said. It's ours. She looked at him. Ours? If you want it to be. He took her hand, knelt right there, in the dirt, beside the cabin. Nora, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve another chance. But I'm asking anyway. He pulled out his mother's ring. Will you marry me? Will you build a life with me? Real, honest, messy, imperfect. But ours. She looked at the ring, at him, at the cabinet, at everything. Yes. Yes? But if you ever choose fear over me again, if you ever make me nothing in front of people, I'm gone. No second chances, no forgiveness, just gone, understood, and we're equals in everything. Decisions, money, work, life, everything. Agreed, and we talk, really talk. No hiding, no running, no silence. I can do that. She pulled him up, kissed him. First real kiss, not desperate, not stolen. Just them. Choosing each other, finally, completely. They married 2 weeks later. Josiah officiated. In the barn, simple ceremony. Few guests. Ruth had sent a letter, blessing them. Wishing she could be there. The vows were short. Honest, I promise to be truthful. Even when it's hard, I promise the same. I promise to choose you. Over fear, over pride, over everything. I promise to trust you as much as I can. And to tell you when I can't, I promise to fail sometimes. And to get back up, I promise to help you stand. They kissed. Married, finally. Summer 1863. The cabin had grown, a room for the children. Margaret, 4 years old, named for Silas's mother. Samuel, 2 years old, named for Josiah, who'd passed. Quickly, peacefully. 2 winters back. They played in the wildflower meadow. Nora watched from the porch. Mending, always mending. Silas rode up from the south pasture, dismounted, kissed her. Quick, familiar. How are they? Wild. Like their father. Hey now, he grinned, sat beside her, watched the children. Margaret had his eyes, Samuel had Nora's stubborn jaw. Both healthy. Strong, loved. You ever think about it? Nora asked. About what? How we got here. Everything that had to break. For us to find each other, Silas considered, sometimes. But I don't. I don't wish it different. Because different means we never meet. Even with all the pain? Even then. He took her hand. Pain taught us what to value, who to trust, how to build something real. Margaret ran up breathless, flower in her hand. Mama. Look, purple wildflower, the kind that bloomed every spring. It's beautiful, baby, like you. Nora's throat tightened. She pulled her daughter close. This child, this gift, this second chance. Silas picked up Samuel, tossed him in the air. The boy shrieked with joy. Nora watched her family, her husband, her children, her home. All of it built from nothing, from loss, from fire, from honest timber and stubborn hope. Hey, Silas said. She looked at him. I love you, I know. Say it back. I love you too. You stubborn mountain man, he grinned. That's my girl. They sat together, children playing, sun setting, wildflowers swaying. And in that moment, everything was enough. Years later, when people asked what they'd built on that land, Nora would smile, touch the scar she no longer tried to hide, and say, we built a life that doesn't need permission to exist, because pretty fades like summer paint. Fancy breaks under winter wind. But honest builds a life that holds. And when spring comes, as it always does, love built through labor blooms, deeper than any flower ever could. The mountains watched over them. Ancient as the mountain man and the scarred woman sat together on their porch, building tomorrow, one quiet moment at a time, until their hair turned gray, until their hands grew weathered, until the children had children, and those children had children, all of them learning that the strongest foundations aren't built from perfection, but from two broken people who chose honest. Over and over, every single day. They say love stories end with happily ever after. But the truth is, love doesn't end, it builds. Brick by brick, board by board, season by season, through fire and snow and stubborn hope. And if you're lucky, really lucky, you find someone who will hand you the hammer, stand beside you in the cold, and say, let's build this together. That's not the end. That's the beginning of everything that matters, in memory of all those who chose honest over easy, who built lives from ash, who loved despite the scars. This story is yours.